Hello everybody, this is Mr. Lawback. In this video, we are going to go over parliamentary and presidential democracies. We are also going to go over the unitary, federal, and confederation forms of government, and we'll talk about some examples of each. First, a parliamentary democracy versus a presidential democracy. What we should keep in mind is the difference is the relationship between the legislative branch and the executive branch. In a parliamentary form of democracy, the citizens only elect the legislature. So this oftentimes is called a parliament. And then out of the legislative branch, in a parliamentary form, the executive is chosen, often called a prime minister or a premier. So in a parliamentary form, the citizens only directly elect a legislative branch. Great example of a parliamentary democracy would be Great Britain and Israel. Now, in a presidential form, the citizens elect both the executive leader, we call it the president, and the legislative branch, our Congress, the Senate, and the House of Reps. So in a presidential form of democracy, the citizens elect both, and the executive power and legislative power are separated. So a couple things to keep in mind when you talk about parliamentary democracy and presidential democracy. In many cases, a presidential democracy is considered to be more democratic because the citizens elect both the executive leader and the legislative branch. Worldwide, the parliamentary system is more common. And in a parliamentary system, compromise is more important to get things done. In a presidential form where you have the executive branch, which is led by a president maybe of one party, the legislative branch can be a majority other party. So there tends to be more opportunity for gridlock in a presidential democracy as well. So now the unitary system, the federal system, and confederation. What I want you to think about this is how power is distributed. So first, let's talk about a unitary system. In a unitary system, the national government has all of the power, and any power that a state or lower level government would get must be given to it by the national level. So when we think of a unitary system, we should think of power being concentrated in a central authority. Now, in a federal system, and this looks familiar to you because this is what we have in the United States, the people give the power to both the state government, like Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, and the national government centered down in Washington, D.C. And in the United States, we have a third level of government, which would be the local level, counties, townships, municipalities, cities. So in a federal form, power is divided among levels, with the ultimate power being given to the people. Now, in a confederation form, the most important government is the state government or regional governments. Power is decentralized. So there's not a strong national government like in a unitary form. States have most of the power, and they are held together by a loose alliance in the form of a national government. So in a confederation, in many cases, states act as independent countries held together loosely. So worldwide, a unitary system is the most common. A federal system works best with a large country. And confederations oftentimes are not independent countries, but alliances of countries, the European Union being an example. So let's talk about some examples of these three structures of government. So unitary form, Great Britain is a good example, Brunei, Saudi Arabia, the Vatican City, Swaziland. Federal structure, the United States, of course, Mexico, India, Germany, Brazil. They are all large population governments. Confederate structure, under the Articles of Confederation, the Constitution before the U.S. Constitution, the United States was a confederation. The Iroquois Confederacy, the European Union. The European Union is a great example of a confederate structure. So in the Union, all of the member nations in Europe are independent states, of course. They are just held together in this alliance by the European Union. But each state has its own autonomy and sovereignty. So I hope this video helps you better understand the difference between parliamentary and presidential democracies and the different power distributions in a unitary, federal, and confederation forms of government. Have a great rest of the day.